Growing up, Pastor Don Wagner used to share every year the story of The Other Wise Man by Henry Van Dyke. It's a story that I looked forward to every year. I would make sure I was in worship when he would preach that, because I longed to hear the story again and again. And as the years went by, I've noticed that this is a story that has shaped my theology, my understanding of how God works and who God is. It's a story near and dear to my heart, and so every year on the first Sunday in Epiphany, I share it with you, following the tradition that has been set before me as a gift. My prayer is that it will touch your hearts and minds the way it has touched mine. In the days when Augustus Caesar ruled over many kings, including Herod, who reigned in Jerusalem, there lived in the mountains of Persia a certain man named Artaban. Artaban was one of the Magi, men who studied the stars in search of the truth about God. Together with his friends Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar, Artaban had made an amazing discovery. In ancient writings, they found a promise that at a certain time, a new star would rise. And at that star's rising, a king would be born. He would be the truth, sent from the one God, the Son of the Most High. Well, Artaban believed that time to be near, and so he sold his home and his possessions and bought 3 jewels as gifts for the new king. He bought a sapphire as deep and blue as the Persian night sky, a ruby as bright and red as the first rays of sunrise, and a pearl as pure and white as the snow-capped mountains at twilight. Each night, Artaban spent searching the night sky, until at last, could it be? There in the distant horizon, just a spark at first, but as it rose, it grew, first blue, then red, and a dazzling, bright white light. "It is the sign," Artaban exclaimed. "The king is coming, and I will go meet him." With haste, Artaban gathered food and provisions for his journey ahead. He had arranged with his friends Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar that they would meet at the temple in Babylon by midnight, 10 days from the stars rising. He could not be late. Quickly, Artaban saddled Vazda, his fastest horse, and they rode off into the night. They rode over grassy hills, through lush valleys, climbing mountains and crossing rivers, barely pausing for food or rest. Until on the 10th day, Artaban knew that they were just hours from Babylon, when suddenly something startled Vazda. Artaban dismounted, and there on the side of the road was the body of a man. Artaban turned to leave, but there was a groan and a tug at his robe. The man was alive. Artaban knew that without help, this man would not survive the night. But if he stayed, he he would surely miss his friends. Artaban turned to the star he had been following. O God of light, of truth, give me the wisdom to know what you would have me do. And then Artaban knew. Hour after hour, he spent nursing the man back to health, giving him cool sips of water and medicine he had mixed from herbs he carried with him. When at last the man was well enough, he told him this: I have nothing with which to repay you, but I can offer you this. From our prophets, we know that the Messiah is to be born in Bethlehem and not Jerusalem. And that is where you must seek him. And with the Hebrew man's blessing, Artaban rode off, reaching Babylon at the first light of dawn. His friends were long gone. But under a brick at the foot of the temple, they left for him a note. It read, Artaban, we have waited until well past midnight and can delay no longer. We go to find the king. Come and follow us across the desert. Artaban's heart sank. Vazda was too tired to make that journey alone. And so reluctantly, he sold the sapphire. And with it, bought a camel and provisions for the journey ahead. Day after day, week after week, month after month, Artaban crossed the desert, always following the star, always hoping to catch up with his friends, always praying to find his king. When at last Artaban reached Bethlehem, he searched the town, and there in a small cottage was a young woman cradling her baby. Could it be? No, it wasn't them. But she fed him, and she talked with him. Yes, there had been 3 strangers here from far away, and they brought with them very odd gifts for Joseph and Mary and their son. But just as quickly as they came, they left. And then Joseph and his family left during the night, and no one knows why, but rumor has it that they went to Egypt. All at once, there's an uproar in the streets. Shouting and screaming, swords clashing. Women were crying out. The soldiers! Herod's soldiers! They're killing our children! Artaban wasted no time. He motioned for the woman and her child to hide in the corner of the cottage, and he went and stood filling the doorway. Artaban reached in his pocket and felt the ruby. When the captain of the guard approached, Artaban said simply, I am alone here, and I have this jewel for whoever will leave me in peace. The man greedily snatched up the ruby and motioned for the other soldiers to move ahead. Artaban turned once more to the night sky. Oh, God of truth, forgive me for saying that which was not true in order to save the life of this child, and for once more giving to another that which was meant only for you. Will I ever be worthy to see the King? The next morning, Artaban left for Egypt. He saw the Nile. He saw the pyramids. He found many to serve, but none to worship. After 33 years, his body grew old and tired. And he thought to return once more to Jerusalem to seek the King there. When Artaban arrived, the city was busy with preparations for the Passover. But there was something more, a pushing, a shoving. When Artaban asked what was going on, he was told, "Well, haven't you heard? 2 thieves are to be crucified, and with them a man, Jesus of Nazareth. Some say he is the Son of God. He is to be executed for saying that he is the King of the Jews." Artaban's heart began to race. Could this be? Could this be the one he had been searching for all these years? And then he felt the pearl in his pocket. Maybe, just maybe, he could give the pearl to the enemies of the King and rescue him. Artaban turned to find him when soldiers crossed his path, dragging a young girl. She was dirty, her hair was tangled, her dress was torn. She cried out to him, "Help me, kind sir. My father died owing a large sum of money, and I am to be sold as a slave to pay his debt. Save me from a life worse than death." Twice before, Artaban had missed finding the King because he stopped to help another in need. But wouldn't helping this girl be a true act of love? And isn't that what this God is about? Artaban pressed the pearl in the hand of the girl. "Your freedom is paid, my child." All at once, the sky turned black. Thunder rolled in the streets, and the soldiers ran off as the buildings began to sway back and forth. A piece of tile from a roof fell and struck Artaban in the temple, and he fell to the ground bleeding. As the girl sat cradling Artaban's head in her lap, she couldn't see who he was talking to, but she could hear him in his Persian tongue. "When, Lord? When did I see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did I see you naked and clothe you, or sick and care for you, or a stranger and welcome you? I have searched for you for 33 years, and I have never seen your face." And then the girl heard the voice. Gentle, but strong. "Whenever you cared for any of my children, you did so for me." And with a great peace, the other wise man